that is superficial as far as I'm concerned. You said
Oh,
something.
no.
I'll come to it. Wait.
Oh.
Find superficial. See, hope is very open-ended. You've actually gone through something and you've done something. To me, that the reality of that is what I want to pursue a little more. Because
Okay.
it may happen or may not happen the way you envisage, and your attitude may have a bearing on it or not.
Yeah.
We can, maybe that's a topic for another day. But your personal experience, I want to know when you were in that phase.
Yeah.
Hope is a very open-ended word. People define it differently. I want to know what you exactly did to pick up the pieces and what made you work forward.
Um, I think what really worked for me at that point in time was that I was and I continue to be responsible for my daughter. So that was the number one thing that kept me going, I would say. And I don't think I really did anything much. I mean, the accepting, the acceptance of the whole thing and things coming, things crashing one by one was very difficult to accept initially. I struggled a lot, Bunty. I
Hmm.
mean, I have done things and tried out things to help me straddle that phase. Now, when I look back at it, depending upon what it is, I either smirk or I smile. I mean, um, with due respect to people who are watching this, there are people who feel somebody who's been to a 5-day workshop of Tony Robbins to be extremely great or extremely stupid. I have done that in that phase. Uh,
What do
I
they
just, sorry.
what do they guys do in that
So
5 day work?
Tony Robbins is a coach, is a celebrity coach. He typically has a 4 or 5 day event happening in major cities. I paid it with money that I didn't have, about £1,000 or so for a week.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh, and it is, I think, all about changing your mindset and figuring out who you are and stuff like that. So there's a lot of glamour aspect also to his workshops. A very close friend of mine is a Tony Robbins fan for almost 15-20 years, and he would always tell me, take a look at it. I would be like, the price itself would set me back, but he managed to get me some discounts, and I put it on the credit card, and it just went like that over 6 months. uh, so now when I look back at it, I feel, what was I thinking? Okay, I mean, and most recently I got an opportunity which I'm working on, wherein one of my clients wants me to do some coaching for I'm not lying,
Yeah, I'm sure.
see this.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So I've had this journal for the last 4 years with me, Bunty. Every time I would have a clear out of the office shelf, I would say, "Isko rakhna hai ki phenkna hai?" And I grabbed about 3-4 copies of this journal, and I even gave one to the taxi driver who dropped me home, because that's the high I was when I finished it. And it kept rotting there for 4 years. I have not opened it. I have not written anything. It's all very blank. But when I had this call with a client 2 weeks back, where they were potentially speaking about coaching and outplacing some of their employees, guess what? This is what I went back to.
Okay. I have another question, a little related to what you said in the end, but
Mm.
a little more deeper than that. Uh, the manifestations apart, what we do,
Hmm.
there is a point in our lives where we actually decide to make the change that takes us further.
Yeah.
In your case, you have credited your being a mother to your daughter and to taking that
Yeah.
responsibility. Uh, would yet there are enough number of people in the world who may not take that responsibility enough for them to sustain the
Sure.
hit that life has given them at that point of time. I want to ask, what is the mindset? Was it absolutely just that, oh, now she's dependent on me, I got to survive this so that I can take her forward? Or is there a latent need to be on top of the situation no matter how bad you are? Would you want to spend a bit of time before you answer that? If you were to dissect it, is there a survival instinct in you which said, I am more powerful than the circumstances. I can definitely do this. Of course, the manifestation is because of your daughter, and the provocation may have come from there. I'm saying as a parent, we all have that. But just that, doesn't it boil down to who you essentially are? Without that, you would not come out.
Yeah, I would say it's a combination of both. It's a combination of both because, yes, it is definitely a survivor's instinct. That is one that continues to override even now, even today. And the second thing also, Bunty, is the fact that I think for me, gratitude also goes hand in hand, right? I mean, I I've been in this part of the world only for the last 14, 15 years. And where I come from, I don't think I would have imagined to even be here. So there's always been points in life where I've had more to be thankful for than to crib about things. And I think that is something which I probably realized very early on. I don't know if I've answered your question.
Okay, there is always a question in the answer.
Go for it.
Uh, what did you tell yourself to be grateful for in that moment where you were actually realizing that everything around you is going uh, completely against what you thought life would be, whether life or business or relationships or uh, what was there to be grateful for? And now, obviously, you will just have to look back and think of what it was. But if there is any,
I would say a few mix of few things depending upon how crappy I would feel or how good I would feel that day. It would be a mix of things. Mix of things would always include my daughter, my responsibility towards her, and the fact that things will change. And maybe there is a bigger reason to it. And more importantly, I am alive. I'm still alive.
okay,
I wake up every day in the morning, and that's a big deal, right?
it is, well, is the biggest there
It's a
is.
it's a biggest deal. Sometimes I think like last evening I was going to meet a friend. It started raining. It was quite heavy for us for a few minutes. And I was thinking if something had to happen to me, what will I, if I knew that I'm not going to be around, what is the last thing I would do? And the only thing that keeps coming back is your family, is your child. And none of the accumulations and stuff and the material stuff that we all have.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it's a survivor thing which overrides, I would say, because maybe later on in the journey I would be happy to share some of them as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would be happy to do that when I'm ready, of course. But yeah, it's pretty much the survivor thing. And like you rightly said, you got to look back to connect the dots. And now when I think about it, like I said earlier, if somebody had to tell me this is the life I would be leading in 5 years' time, I don't think I would have believed them entirely. Because there is one thing that is belief and one thing that is wishful thinking. And there's a very bloody thin line in between that, right?
that you answered the question why I did not want to go with the hope word, because then everybody can say, I also have hope. Why doesn't it work out like that? It may or may not work, but I'm not an expert on that. My personal understanding over the period of last couple of years has been that uh, pessimism is optimism. If you are always
Yeah.
alert and aware that things may go bad, uh, so you
Yeah.
should be grateful for the things that really are there in your hand.
Yeah.
One good point that you brought up is something I've been telling a lot of my friends, that there are two things to handle 2020 with. The first is to stay alive, and
Yeah.
second is not to go under as far as business and money is concerned, because that's a very close second concern. But try and just manage with as little as you can, as much time as you have. Just cross the next couple of months and we'll see what happens. Not that I'm expecting any miracle to happen in 2021, but just the fact that
Yeah.
it is something to be grateful for. Because these two primary things in my head,
Yeah.
being alive and being healthy, are
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
incomparable.
See, the only thing I'd like to add here is I'm not saying it that this is a disclaimer, but what I've shared and always shared, these are all lived experiences. These are not something that is a
Yeah,
content or to
yeah,
inspire people or to give quote unquote hope. These are lived experiences.
yeah.
And whatever is being shared is being shared from a place of going through that experience and literally drawing blood and coming out on the other side. So uh, so nowhere I want to sound like somebody who says things will be great, it will be fine, sab theek ho jayega. Nahi. All I'm saying is just keep at it and be resilient, and changing perspective also helps.
Okay. One interesting new detour that your last line gave me while we have time. So it was interesting. Since you also may need to counsel some of the people who are coming to you for jobs right now, going through bad times, uh, I want to understand two aspects. One is, where do you draw the line between empathy and being absolutely brutal about okay, this is where things stand, because it needs a mix as far as I am concerned. While it is not the best thing to be telling someone, is there anything that you want to share on that front?
I don't think there is really a line, number one, right? There isn't really a line between being brutal and being empathic to somebody's situation. I think it is about you really trying to get them to a point where they figure it out and have that acceptance. You cannot do that for them. Neither can you figure it out for them. Neither can you tell them whether to accept it or deny it. So they are the ones who are doing all the work. I'm just going along the journey with them and helping them figure out things, change the perspective, and and look at it a bit more positively or differently, I would say.
Okay. You face a lot of challenges on that front these days.
Yes, I do. In fact, since I started my counseling work full time a few months back, I always tell the people that I work with is depending upon how bad that week has been for them, is to do this little thing called, you take your 10 fingers and try and find out what are the 10 things that you are grateful for. And the first time when I heard it, I said, 10 things? How is that possible? But you cannot you cannot cheat here. You cannot say family, brother, sister, mother, wife, and all that. It has to be family, it has to be health, finances, career, whatever. So when I was going through that workshop, I was amazed when when other people shared some of their experiences. First, somebody said, I can walk. The other person said, I can clap with both my hands. So these are things, it doesn't even cross our minds, right? That I'm able to wake up in the morning, that I have a job, and the other regular bits. So maybe you can try that one day. Like, what are the 10 things that you are grateful for? I mean, you don't need anything to do it. You can sit anywhere or stand anywhere, or even when you're walking, you can just do that mentally, right?
The only problem is I don't know how to count up to 10, but I think I'm thankful that I can count up to 5. I'll do that twice.
Oh God, really, Bunty. So just do 5 plus 5.
Uh,
So, yeah, I
my
lost you there. Did you say
yeah,
something?
yeah, no, no. I'm finding that while we started this on a what seemed to be a very pessimistic note, uh, the never-ending story of COVID, and in a way, it is life, and there is no end.
Yeah,
Till you are alive, there is something or the other that is going to keep on happening to all of us, and this entire journey of uh, things that you put in perspective. I loved it because this is a very different kind of talk chat we've had today.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
smaller snippets of our lives at the same time, covering some pop psychology or both are parts, and at the same time, yet the underlying theme throughout being resilience and gratitude and the ability to withstand with some kind of equipoise.
Yeah.
Something that I think these are certain values that I take from today's conversation that one needs to rework it. Funnily enough, before we started today, this morning itself, I was feeling very listless about this whole scenario. I said it's a first for me that the topic that I have kind of decided and my mood is the same. And should I start that or should I do something else? I said, no, we'll jump into it and see where it goes. But like
Yeah.
always, I think there is something to hold on to. And while we called it survival many times, and it part of it is survival, uh, these little things that make survival worthy, which is gratitude or uh, love for family or some kind of uh, empathy for the fellow human beings who are going through different kinds of
Yeah.
experience, different points of time. I think we got to seed these things as much as possible on everyday basis for us to. It's for us. We are all in it together. There is no separation because
Correct.
COVID is quite democratic.
No, I agree to that. There's no separation. Yeah.
While democracy may not be doing too well all over the world, at least COVID is ensuring that it catches each of us
It's getting us together.
equally liberally.
No, I know.
So yeah,
I know. I
that
know.
would be a good end to the topic. Any last words that you would want to have, or should we wind up?
I don't know if this is last word, but the only thing I'd say is hope and fear are two sides of the same coin.
Yeah, that's a very good last word to have because one shouldn't stretch either of them to their limit. It's good to have a positive attitude.
Yeah.
To know that things can go wrong, and while things
Yeah.
go wrong, one should remember they will still change. Maybe impermanent,
Yeah. That.
like being taught, it remains the one and only.
Oh, that's a different. Yeah. Yes. Oh, yes. Yes. Anuj. Yes.
Yeah, so we shall end on that note. It was good talking to you. I'll see you around. Thank you.
Yeah. Same here. I really enjoyed our chat today, Bunty.
It is a different one. Hope people like it. Let's see.
Yeah. I'm sure they will.
Yep. So, bye.
Yeah.